Hello Kitty Devil, featuring Chan Man Lok. That's his full name. Crimes and sprees. Chan Man Lok was known to be involved in the infamous Hello Kitty murder that occurred on 1999. In the early 1999, a female named Man Yee had stolen a wallet containing $4,000 in Hong Kong dollars from Chan. Despite Fan returning the wallet to Chan, he was not happy about it and demanded a fee of $10,000 in return. However, due to the fact Fan could not afford to pay the fee, on March 17, 1999, Chan, alongside other 3 accomplices, they abducted Fan. Furthermore, after the abduction, they had imprisoned Fan and tortured her for a month straight in Tum Sha Sui apartment until she passed away from her injuries and severe blood loss. Though it's not confirmed what was the main cause of her passing away. To cover up their crimes, they hid Fan's body part inside a large Hello Kitty doll after boiling to cover up the scent. Other than the murder of Fan, Chan was heavily involved in crimes including drug trafficking, illegal pimping, loan sharking, and child grooming. In other words, manipulation. In fact, he manipulated a 14-year-old girl, Ah Fong, to be involved in the crimes and to torture Fan during the murder. Chan was heavily obsessed with money and high finance due to the fact he was also one of Hong Kong's gang leader. Drug-wise, he was both a seller and an addict himself, specifically addicted to methamphetamine drug. Investigation. Chan had not confessed or revealed the crimes himself. However, his accomplice who was manipulated from him, Ah Fong, she had severe nervousness during school, which led to her confessing to both the social worker along with the police officers. She specifically told the police there was a headless female ghost in her dreams. At first, the investigators and authorities had dismissed her. However, once they heard the exact location of the murder she claimed to have participated with, 3 officers, Chu Jiashui, Xiang Chuahua, and Andrew Yen Yangling, had followed her to the apartment on May 24, 1999. There was a Hello Kitty doll discovered during the search, which is cut open to discover Fan's head was stuffed inside, along with dead insects. With DNA evidence, it was discovered Chan was involved, which led to a manhunt. Which shortly after the hunt, Chan was arrested in his primary residence, Shik Lei Estate. During the investigation, it could be determined the specific case of Fan passing away, whether it was a blood loss or an overdose, or a traumatic shock or starvation. Trial and court proceedings. There was a court battle between Chan Man Lok and Ah Fong, which during the trial the teenage girl had claimed Chan had manipulated her, leading to her occasionally participating in the beatings and the torture of Fan. Chan had eventually given up his defense and confessed the details of the murder without any remorse. Matter of fact, he was detached during the trial. He had claimed he did not directly cause the death of Fan, but the cause was an overdose of methamphetamine. Due to the fact there was no claim or evidence on what had caused Fan passing away by the court, Chan was not charged for a first-degree murder. However, instead he received the charge of manslaughter along with unlawful imprisonment. Judge Peter Nguyen was shocked by the crimes and sentenced Chan with life imprisonment. However, it was not stated whether Chan would get the chance of parole or not. Chan would stand with a dark black suit with a blank expression, occasionally smirking and attempting to cover his laughs. In other words, words, he was completely remorseless, and he, matter of fact, couldn't care less about the immorality he caused and acted with. Childhood. From the limited files and records of Chan Man Lok, it was discovered his childhood was unstable. During his middle school years, he exhibited problematic behaviors, leading to him to cause trouble in school. In addition, he would engage in bullying while being bullied himself. He could not drive himself to focus in school, which led him to drop out of school before he even graduated middle school to pursue his street life. As a youth, it was reported he would join gangs and engage in violent acts across the streets. Furthermore, stealing money from people and overdosing with drugs. It is unknown whether he had a stable family life in home or not. However, it's likely he did not have a stable home life, leading to him running away to become a violent gang member. Personal life that could potentially affect their crimes. However, it doesn't show, in other words, NA. However, it was briefly mentioned and discovered during his arrest, or when he was arrested, that he lived with his wife and a newborn child. Pivotal events. Chan Man Lok was born on the 17th of May, 1965 in Hong Kong. Mid-1970s to 1980, he had dropped out of school and instead he would join a gang. In 1991, he was arrested with drug trafficking. Mid-1990s, the level of addictions with drugs had escalated, leading to his altered mental state. March to April of 1999, Chan had orchestrated the torture and murder of Man Yee. Chan was arrested on May 24, 1999, 7 days after his birthday. On December 6, 2000, he was sentenced to life in imprisonment. On June 2003, Chan had failed to appeal his life sentence in Hong Kong court. Quotes. While there aren't any quotes available from Chan Man Lok himself, however, there are quotes from Judge Nguyen, who served as the judge during the trial with Chan Man Lok. Never in Hong Kong in recent years has a court heard of such cruelty, depravity, callousness, brutality, violence, and viciousness. The public is entitled to protection from people such as you. Forensic inferences. While no evidence in record, it's likely Chan Man Lok had committed his acts based on the combination of both his childhood along with the crimes and gangs he had engaged with. Especially during the late 1970s in Hong Kong, parents were busy with long shifts, specifically 16-hour shifts usually. It's highly possible due to their absence, Chan began to feel a detachment from family life. In addition, the streets of Hong Kong during that era were filled with violence and criminal acts more than modern years. Chan likely got influenced by the atmosphere and engaged with the acts himself, later feeling a sense of enjoyment. In school, it is likely the students, including Chan, were vulnerable with peer pressure, making a large opportunity for Chan to act with the crimes. Both parents and schools had likely to struggle offering them protection due to their busy working class. The mind of a psychopath, while not always, there is a large chance for it to develop in such harsh environments. Even if not psychopathic conflicts, there could potentially be some form of mental disorder formed during this era. Legacy and impact. The Hello Kitty murder remains one of the most brutal and emotional cases in Hong Kong till this day. Hello Kitty was feared at some point after the murder due to its gruesome details and images. Not the Hello Kitty series itself, but the crime, the murders involving the doll. It's likely parents, especially after hearing about this incident, may have felt uncomfortable watching Hello Kitty episodes of videos with their children. The murder was included in Hong Kong's pop culture icon. Movies such as Human Pork Chop and There Is a Secret in My Soup had been produced based on the murder. Forensic technologies began to strengthen in order to avoid the mistake of having the lack of evidence like it did during the Hello Kitty murder.